welcome to another episode of the Paperstac podcast. I am Brett Berkey. This is Rick Allen.
Rick Allen. It's just Rick Allen.
Just Rick.
Or they used to run my name together in football. Rick Allen.
That's how you get your Rowland thing, huh?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
So
today we're doing something that's pretty cool.
Can you add some bass to my voice in the post production, because I feel nasally still.
I can try.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. You can start it from right here.
And then add it deep in me and see if people notice.
I'll give it a shot. I don't know if I can separate my voice from your voice.
I want to sound like John Coffey, like the drink but spelled differently.
I don't even know what that is.
The Green Mile.
Oh, yeah. I remember that movie.
Anyways. So what are we talking today?
So what we're talking today is a way for you as a note investor or someone who wants to get into the note space, understands real estate maybe, way for you to create notes to list on Paperstac. So the goal, of course, was things we talk about is it's always about the yield and trying to figure out a way to get back into your numbers. Mm-hmm. And, sometimes you're wondering, well, how do I create a note? What's the process? Where do I find? What am I looking for? What's a good place to find this stuff? And so, Rick had shown me a strategy he's using, and I find it fascinating because I'm like, wow, it's just, you're not putting out bandit signs, you're not finding things, or you're not doing a new construction. It's a totally different, and it's something that comes to your inbox, kind of like if you're a user.
So we're talking real estate.
It's real estate.
We're talking, it's going to be a little bit of a real estate based and note based podcast. So you're kind of going to have everything working together.
Right.
So you get to take all the disciplines. I started buying distressed real estate. I started as a wholesaler back in 2005.
Right.
And I did that for 6 years and got really good at buying discounted properties. And so
break down the strategy. We'll give them a high level, and then we'll give them some. So we're going to be doing it, talking like this, but we're also going to be recording what's on Rick's screen, so that you can understand what's on Rick's screen. And
yeah. So it kind of all started with. I believe there's a little bit of a market anomaly going on right now that really presents a huge opportunity. Is owner financing something new? No. Have I owner financed houses before this that I had to take back through foreclosure? Absolutely. Are there people out there teaching owner financing, the power of it? Mm-hmm. Shoot, I think Eddie Speed's been teaching it for 15 years. So it's not something that's new. What we're doing is a little bit unique because we're taking advantage of the market. Right now you have this, like I said, like it's an anomaly. It's this market condition where a lot of the cash buyers, a lot of the people who are doing fix and flips are holding their capital back. Mm. I'm not seeing as many people do it, and the reason for that is prices are falling a little bit, and people are, I'll hear people say, well, no, prices aren't falling. I'm watching them fall. I'm seeing them fall. When wholesalers are dropping their prices are falling. It's just the way it is. And the reason for that is there's a couple of things. One, it's harder to get lending.
Yeah.
Right? So, not harder to get lending.
Well, the rates are
up. They've tightened a little bit, but the rates are up, so people can't afford as much house. So all of a sudden, that sweet spot of somebody could afford a $500,000 house, well, now they can't afford a $500,000 house. They can only afford a $300,000 house.
Correct. But
what does that do? Well, it means that the people that were buying and fixing and flipping into that $500,000 house range now are holding their money back a little bit, right? Or people who, had smaller incomes and they could buy a $250,000 house with a $1,200 payment or $1,300 payment. That's just not there. It's not available, right? So those payments are, $1,800 or $1,700 or whatever that number is. So what you're having is, I said it earlier, you have wholesalers who are dropping their prices.
Correct.
Right? So they're out there doing all this marketing. Mm-hmm. And believe me, there is no shortage of wholesalers. That is the easiest, lowest barrier of entry way to get into flipping real estate. And I don't hate it. I started there. Mm-hmm. I started with a company that was a nationwide company that was doing it in 2005 before everybody was a wholesaler. There was a few of them around, but most, now They're everywhere. But you have wholesalers that are doing all this marketing, and then they're getting these houses, and they're used to buying houses at one price and selling them, and they're making 20, 25 grand assignment fees. So they're making big fees. And when you have buyers who are throwing money down because it's easy to sell, it's not a problem. Right now you're running into a situation where wholesalers now can't sell their real estate.
Mm-hmm.
They can contract it,
But they can't sell it.
but they can't sell it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm seeing stuff where I'm seeing the same house that's, a $350,000 house get slashed on the price by 50 grand.
Yeah.
And it's not all one chunk 50 grand slash. It's like, hey, price reduced 15,000. Hey, another big price reduced 15,000. Hey, huge price reduced 20 grand. Right? It's just still happening and people aren't able to buy it. We're able to come in and capitalize, negotiate a much lower price with them. First off, you can submit an offer. 7 months ago, you weren't submitting offers. You were trying to be first to the table with your deposit check. Now you can submit an offer to them and at least start negotiating and working with them. Pro tip, you'll see most wholesalers say buyer pays all closing costs. Right? That's on there. I'll agree to it most of the times because I've been on the other side of the equation, but I'll also say I'm putting a cap on it at $1,100 or $1,500 because it's a cash transaction. It shouldn't cost me more than $300 on my end, so I'll cover $700 to $1,100, $1,200 of your costs because I know you're a wholesaler. You're doing the marketing. I just look at it as a marketing expense because I've gone out and marketed for houses. And for me, it's like, okay, whatever. It's just a marketing expense. It's not a make it or break it deal. And what we're doing is we're buying houses that are very clean, 3-2, newer roof within the past 10 years, new AC within the past 5 years, stuff that I don't have to get in there and mess with.
Cosmetic rehab only.
Yeah, I'm not doing rehabs. I don't want to do that. I'm not even painting. If I can get out without painting, I want to do that. And then owner financing them to people who can't get loans or who didn't know they could get loans or just not trying to do it and backing into our numbers at, I try to keep it around rent, what the rents for the area is, but I'm requesting big ticket money down. So if a house is worth retail $220, I might sell it for $230 with 30 grand down or with 20 grand down. And there's people lining up to buy them, which is great. And then I back into my interest rate through once I plug in, okay, this is what the loan amount will be, here's what the payment I'm targeting, and here's the term. And then I'll run my BII and it'll say, okay, this is a 9.4% interest rate.
Right.
So a couple things with that. If you're originating it and you're planning on selling it, it's great because you can buy something originated, turn around and resell it, and it's a 9% interest rate loan. The borrower's got 10 or 15% down on it, and you originate it like you would originate a good owner finance note. Use an RMLO, loan app, make it look, smell, taste, and feel just like institutional paper or something that Bank of America would originate, but it's not. It's something you did. So that way you've got all the proper docs there, title insurance, all that stuff, lender's policies, set all that stuff up. So it's a qualified loan. Then you can turn around and sell it and you can say, well, what if I want to sell this at an 11% yield? What if I want to sell it at a 12% yield? And you can say, I can make 30 or 40 grand in 60 days on a $130,000 investment.
It's crazy.
It's nuts. You can do it.
It's crazy.
Now, if you're looking at holding these,
that's different.
If you want to keep it, yeah. But imagine this. So you're running your calculations and you're figuring out, it's like, okay, I'm originating this. It's a $210,000 loan. It's at 9% or 9.4%. I bought it for $140. Didn't have to do anything to it, but I took in 20 grand. So now my basis, maybe got some $3,000 in origination cost to set everything up. So, 143 minus the 20, now you're into it for 123. Go ahead and plug in the 123 as the present value.
Right.
Plug in the principal and interest payment and the term and see what it does to your yield. Like we're talking 18s, 19s.
That's crazy.
It's really, really, really high.
I mean, another thing that haven't talked about, but could be a really cool option, is the fact of if you're buying it at such a low level, and you're let's just say 150, right? 150, you're able to sell it for 230 to somebody. You're not doing rehab, so your closing costs, which is say 5,000, whatever it is, all the stuff you might have to do. So whatever. So what is it? 150. So if you're at 155, you're at 230 or whatever. You get 20% down. All that that's that delta right there that you have there. You could probably technically sell. You could take that 20 back, and then you could sell your what you're into it for as a partial with less term, and technically just turn around, get the 20,000, and then do it again, and then keep those for.
Sure, absolutely. You could sell a partial on it and start setting up, $50,000 or $60,000.
Yeah.
Residuals at the end. Definitely.
That's pretty cool. But so the thing is too that you want to make sure is that this is. I mean, you guess you could do it nationwide, but ideally when you're doing the real estate, you want to be able to view it. You wouldn't be able to drive to it.
So yeah, for this play that we're running, as we started out doing this, it was the anomaly became apparent. The area we're local to is Orlando, and I've just been buying in real estate here for almost 20 years. So I'm on. It seems like every wholesaler's list. Like I get properties. I've had properties sent to me ever since I got out, right? So since I stopped in, when did we stop? 2011 into 2011, 12. I've still been getting stuff. So for the past decade, I've been getting. Everybody will still send me their deals. So I was always able to, I use that as a pulse on the market,
right?
Because yes, you can look at the actives. Yes, you can look at the pendings. Yes, you can look at the solds. You can look at the price drops. But to see what's going on in the wholesale market is a big indicator for me of what's going on out there.
That's right.
So yeah, you can just start getting those properties in and start backing into your numbers. Again, we're looking for 3-bedroom, 2-bath plus.
150 and below.
Yeah, it just depends on the market. Depends on the area. We started locally, like I was saying. That's what we were talking about driving, and I got off track. We started looking areas locally because it was just I saw a deal and. It was like, hey, I'll go check this thing out, and it was sitting there, and I was like, oh yeah, this is a deal. It's like I could probably just buy this. It's super clean, newer roof, newer AC. I was like, yeah, I'll owner finance this one to somebody, and I can turn around and resell it. And consequently, the tenant who I was going to evict said they were interested in buying it, and I was like, all right, how's your credit score? I'll give you, happy to make a loan. This is the down payment. And they said, well, are you negotiable in the down payment? I'm like, not a lot. And they said, well, I'm going to try to do conventional financing. You go to a bank. I'm like, okay. And he had a 780 credit score and went and got financed. So that one was kind of the first one out of the gates. Like, well, that worked out great, but it wasn't the play. But since then, you start buying them and doing as little work as possible. If you have to do work, it's important to have boots on the ground. Yeah. And I think that's kind of the thing. You're like, you want to buy nationwide. I'm staying local right now to, something within an hour drive. I've got a good group or a good guy, everyone's got their guy. And he's got a crew that can knock stuff out at a reasonable price. He's trustworthy. And so I can kind of work there. As we start wanting more inventory, I put more capital into play. At that point, I can start searching out. But again, it's no different than buying notes. You got to focus on your area. You got to have boots on the ground. You got to build a team. Mm-hmm. So, for us, venturing out is probably going to be something like going over to Tampa, St. Pete, or moving over into Brevard County over on the East Coast, potentially Daytona, and then start looking at other areas like, Palm Bay up to, you start looking up at Jacksonville maybe, and just areas I'm familiar with. Gainesville is a big one. This is a great play for college towns, especially if you're you got people that could kids that could potentially going there. If you can, that's just if you want to buy it and hold it because.
Yeah, I mean, but you'll have the parents that are looking for something for their kids.
Yeah.
So that's another thing.
Do that, but I mean, yeah. So there's definitely opportunities there.
So we talked about all the house, like the big picture. So where do they go to do this? What would be the best thing to do? First get on a number of wholesalers lists.
Yeah, wholesalers. So if you're driving around and you see bandit signs, as is house for sale, 180. If you see ARV, that's after repair value. That's a key, that's an indicator, that's a wholesaler. Call them up, ask them what they got, tell them what you're looking for. Don't have to tell them what you're doing, just tell them what you're looking for. That's a quick way to do it. Searching Facebook Marketplace. I found a deal in Facebook Marketplace. You can search Craigslist is kind of a dying animal, but you can still, you can maybe pull one out of there. And then there's a website called Investor Lift.
Right.
And Investor Lift is pretty unique because you can, it's a nationwide platform. As you can see, we'll roll through it real quick. Nationwide platform that you can really dive down and see what's available. So I'll look in here in the Orlando area.
Also, if you are familiar with Paperstac and our safe search process, there's a very similar thing. Maybe not as granular as ours, but you can at least put in counties, cities, beds, baths,
right,
stuff like that.
So I'm focusing on like the 250,000 after repair value or less. Just because for me, I think the 20 grand down is a good number that people can come up with. And then that allows me to do something between 1,500 to, 1,750 or 1,950. Keep it under that 2 grand mark. And, that will kick me off. Usually it's coming in 9%. And so if I want to do like a 7.5% or 8%, you can do that. You just got to understand that if investors are looking for an 11% yield, you're going to have to take a bigger discount.
Yeah.
So
let's look at that first one.
This one here is
4.2.
This is a 4.2. I know this area pretty well. This neighborhood is a little bit rough, but we'll just look at the house. We won't look at the numbers. The house.
I looked at this one. Had some flooring issues.
Yeah, it seems like it's got some flooring issues. Not terrible. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, stainless steel appliances, kitchen don't look bad. And again, you're like, well, this place is a mess. Well, yeah, it's a mess, but you got to understand that somebody who's getting a chance at home ownership that never would have that opportunity, they'll take on a little bit of an issue, right?
Not only that, imagine these people wouldn't be there anymore. So I do like they would take their stuff.
Right. So this one,
pressure wash the outside.
yeah, the house not terrible. The area, we'll see. They usually give you some information here. This is kind of a particular area. This is good. It's got a 10-year-old roof, 6-year-old AC that falls within the parameters. AC is kind of on the edge there. Kitchen was updated 5 years ago, so not terrible. So this one's it's not bad. It's just it's on that upper end of this area. Is rents are. It's a 4.2. So you might be able to rent it out to a Section 8, owner finance it to an investor who's maybe only got 30 grand to play with, and they would be able to cover their nut and everything with Section 8. And Section 8 is really big down here for a 4.2. In this area, you're probably getting close to 2,200.
Really well.
Yeah, 2,000, something like that.
So another tip, though, if you're watching this, when you're clicking on these houses, a lot of times what's the wholesaler will do is they have their own internal lists too. So it's good to click on the house, then click on the person.
Yeah.
Just get on the phone, call them up, talk to them, say, hey, look, this is exactly what my buy box is. When you have it, send it to me. Because what they're going to do first is it costs money for them to use the system, of course. And so what they want to do is they want to send it to the private list first. And that's like their hot list. That's their buyer's list. So you want to be on all the different buyer's lists. Mm-hmm. And then just that way, what's here is kind of not second picking, but it's a lot of times they have an internal list they'll send to first because they have to upload it here and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So let's see if we can find another one to kind of look at that would kind of fall into the...
I looked at this one right here. This one's pretty nice.
Okay. It's, it's a 3.1, not the 3.2 we're looking for, but let me look real quick and see what we got here.
That's that one with the crack.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this one's got cracks in the floor. That's got settlement. Settlement's an issue down here. We'll look at this one. So this definitely works. You got 225, 80,000. The house cute. Roof looks like it's end of life. I don't know if they say anything about it. They don't. There's pictures coming soon, so I guess nothing really to...
It was in a decent neighborhood.
The neighborhood's decent. A little pride of ownership here, so you gotta think that the house isn't that bad. So, that's kind of it. That's the way we've been working, the stuff we've been looking at. Really, it's all about getting in there, finding a house that's going to kind of work for you with the numbers, and being able to let's back it out of there.
You just need patience, that's all. Because they're not there, I mean, they'll come, but it's a very specific type of thing you're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, and you can go back and you can look at, you can change this up and let's go look what's another big area, I don't know, Ohio. Let's go look at Ohio and see what Ohio looks like. The Columbus area. So there's houses kind of really all over the place.
Oh, that's good for 110.
Yeah, Whitehall, I did a house there. Yeah, so definitely it really works in the Midwest quite well. Taxes are a little bit higher, but you can the price points are a little cheaper also. So
I guess that's it. I mean,
yeah.
Pretty much sums it up. We're going to kind of make this into something that you can kind of digest a little bit better. I'll put some links in the description. But again, this is a unique strategy that Rick's come up with, or Rick's using, I'm sorry, it hasn't come up with. But of course, it's something we wanted to share with our user base. You get these notes, you get them under contract, you just get them seller finance, and you can hold them for a little bit if you want to season them. Then you can turn around and put it on Paperstac, list it at the yield now, which is a feature. You just put in the yield you want to list it at, we'll adjust the pricing for you. And done. And flip your money, go back and do it again. So it's pretty much a gist. But if you have your own questions or topics you want us to cover, of course, the thing to do, leave us a comment. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's it.
Take care.
See ya.